All right. So Thomas Hobbes, he was born in the 16th century and he died in the, he lived a pretty long life, but he got to be 93. That's pretty impressive for the 17th century. It's pretty impressive for now. And so he got a classical education. He's probably from a reasonably well-off family, and he's mainly known for his book Leviathan, which was published in 1651, and that's mainly a work of political and social philosophy. Famously, he argues for a social contract. He argued that it's okay for power to reside in a king. And the reason for that is, the reason why it's rational for people to agree to that is that if you don't have an authority overseeing the society, then life is chaos. In his famous phrase, in the state of nature, life is nasty, brutish, and short. So we're not going to really talk about his political views, but mainly we're interested in his sort of metaphysical views. And like most of the thinkers around this time, he took a mechanistic view of the world. The world is a machine. So the whole universe is like a machine, like a clock. And that includes for him all living beings. Right. So he's a total materialist. He doesn't believe in immaterial substances like souls. He believes in mechanism, this idea of the world as a machine. So he thinks humans are just complex machines. And he has a sort of pessimistic view about human nature. He thinks people are just selfish. He thinks all humans are fundamentally self-interested. We're just interested in the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. Well, maybe it's not that pessimistic. The Epicureans were also basically psychological egoists. They would say that people are selfish. But they said like the best way to live, if you want to have a happy life, is to kind of have friends and be nice to people. So he wasn't advocating being violent, but he did think that he did have a sort of pessimistic view that things would soon things would soon end up in violence if there weren't lots of rules. He also thought that human nature was determined by kind of forces outside our individual control. So he didn't believe in free will. He just thought we were like machines. You don't think a clock has free will. And he didn't think that human beings have free will. So his view of the mind is a totally kind of materialist conception of the mind. So he thinks that you just have basically the stuff, whatever is going on in the brain, or the individual particles in the body moving around. That's what creates the mind. Sensations arise from the physical impressions on the sense organs, and imagination is the decaying sense, sort of recollection of past sensations. He thought that thinking is a sequence of mental images linked by association. Sometimes that kind of idea of the mind is called the theater of ideas. It's like there's a theater, a stage, and ideas are moving along the stage in some kind of sequence, and that's what reasoning is, for ideas to be moving along the stage. So reason is a kind of being rational. Reasoning is a way to kind of calculate the consequences of actions and get what you want. He has a very sort of crude theory about the nature of language and meaning. He thinks that words are associated with sensory experiences. So it kind of goes, it's fine for particular things like food and maybe kind of plants and things like that. It's more difficult to account for abstract things like the number two, saying that they are linked with kind of sensory experiences. And then there's things like prepositions. You wonder, well, what's the meaning of that? It's not the most sophisticated view, but it's an early attempt to have a theory of meaning. It's a very distinctive view, and one of the reasons it's useful to think about is that how different it is from the view of Descartes. Descartes was a dualist. He thought the mind was totally non-physical. So Hobbes is an interesting example of somebody who had the opposite view. The mind is totally physical. So Hobbes was well aware of the ideas and arguments of Descartes, and he was not impressed. Right? He thought that Descartes' argument didn't make sense, and the kind of idea that simply by imagining the mind as being separate from the body, that leads you to understand them as being totally separable. He thought, well, that's all this relies on the idea of clear and distinct perceptions, and he thinks that's not a very good guide to truth. Just something seeming clear to you doesn't mean you actually understand it, and it could be misleading. So he was totally unimpressed by the arguments of Descartes.